Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And today we are going to discuss about ratio analysis. So, you know what is meant by ratio analysis?
Ratio analysis is the process of determining numerical relationship between financial statements.
Yes. So, there are many techniques or tools are there which we are using in the financial statement to analyze the financial statement, right? That is balance sheet, ratio analysis, cash flow statement and comparative and common size statement, right? So, among that, this is the first one, ratio analysis. Using this, we are going to analyze our financial statement, which is you choose as your project, right? So, ratio analysis is the process of determining and interpreting numerical relationship based on the financial statement. There are number of ratio analysis is there. Basically, we are using 4 ratios. What are the 4 ratios?
Liquid ratio, solvency ratio, profitability ratio, and
Activity ratio, right? Liquidity ratio, solvency ratio, activity ratio and profitability ratio, right? So, how many ratios you used in your project?
15 to 16 ratio.
Right? So, which company you chose?
PK Limited.
Can you give a brief explanation about your...
My PK Limited company is about to have 10 large stores in the city. It produces general goods and services. It have more large stores in the city, and it plan to execute even more 6 more industry in the city.
Okay, so I think you will use profit and loss account and balance sheet of this PK Limited to analyze ratios.
Yes, ma'am.
To analyze the financial statement, right? So, how more than 10 ratios you use?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. How the liquidity ratio of your company with that numerical terms, can you explain?
My liquidity ratio in this company is better compared to last year's, because last year, like in 2021, the liquid ratio was 1:1, ma'am. But this year, 2022, the liquid ratio of the company was 1.5:1. So it has been better to have liquid ratio more.
Okay. What is the pure ratio of liquidity ratio? There are 2 ratios are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Under liquidity ratio, current ratio and
Quick ratio.
What is the pure ratio of this current ratio?
1:1.
2:1. Okay. Liquidity ratio or quick asset or acid test ratio is 1:1. So how this ratios in your PK Limited?
The current ratio is pure ratio, ma'am. The liquid ratio is only fluctuating.
Okay. So what are the other ratios you used in your project?
I used debt to equity ratio.
Solvency ratio.
Solvency ratio.
Yes. So debt to equity. Okay. What is the formula for a debt to equity ratio?
Debt by equity.
Debt by equity. How this company is a debt by equity?
Compared to last year, this year is not sufficient, ma'am, because the debt holders are even more higher compared to last year for this company. So it's not sufficient.
It is not sufficient. So then what is the next ratios you used?
I used profitability ratios, ma'am. Gross profit ratio,
net profit
ratio,
operating ratio, operating profit ratio. These are the profitability ratio, right?
Yes,
and how is the profitability ratio in your project?
My profitability ratio is for a gross profit, it is better compared to last year, because 75% of gross profit is better now compared to 60%.
Okay. So what about the other ratios you used?
Other ratios are working capital ratio, fixed assets ratio, inventory turnover ratio and trade receivables.
So working capital ratio is one of the important thing, because working capital will decide day-to-day activities of the business. Okay, so working capital means, it will decide the day-to-day activities of the business, right? Current assets and current liability. So working capital ratio is one of the important ratios in any businesses.
Yes.
Got it. So what is the working capital ratio formula?
Ma'am, revenue from operation by working capital.